Oh, we should probably do some sort of intro, right?
Maybe at some point, once we have a game plan and really have this all structured out.
Well, that's the thing when you talk about structure, specifically with my podcasting class at university now. It is some technical stuff, but it's pretty much all like, proper storytelling, this, that, and the other. And I'm like, so this is what I'm doing wrong.
All of it.
Yes, everything. Yeah. It's just like, it's very structured. No one really improvs. And I go, I see.
Yeah, but are they talking about like journalist podcasts where they're telling the story of, say, true crime or a investigative journalist type?
Sort of everything.
I mean, there's a million different ways to do it. I'd be shocked if that's the way they were teaching it, as in it has to have a 3-act structure or some kind of like method or methodology.
Yeah.
I'd imagine there'd be a bit of different directions you could take it depending on the kind of content you were doing and the kind of audience you wanted.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where, like, especially like a big note is if you're not enjoying yourself, your audience won't.
That's something I've always tried to remember. Like, this can feel like an obligation, and I can feel like a bit of stress about it, you know, how much better it could be. But you always have to remember that, and it's easy to forget that basically, and it's something I was saying from the beginning, is that it's just, I've got to remember to not get excited about ever getting a bunch of listeners. It's mostly just going to be to enjoy the sit down and chat about this topic, because there's no point talking about something you're not into.
Yeah.
Because people will pick up on that. And so just enjoy the few times you get to do it and pretend. It's almost like I'm role playing that that's in my head as well. Like, I'm slightly self-aware that I'm totally delusional if I think I'm actually broadcasting this to any kind of mass audience, you know, and my affect sometimes portrays that, but I know I'm just completely role playing as if I'm some kind of semi-popular host of something that people watch. But that's totally a role play. I get it. But it's fun. So I'll just keep doing it. And so even if there's a 0.05% chance that one day someone will get into it and be able to go back and watch these, I still want it to be relatively watchable and enjoyable, but mostly I just want to have fun, and hopefully if we have fun, then anyone watching it will too. But that said, I'm open to like completely, you know, reworking it and any kind of advice on how it could be.
I do have a limit on this battery on this camera. Let's not forget this.
Yeah, no, I'm just rambling now. But anyway, it's fun to talk about that meta side of it as well. But I guess we're starting episode 89.
89. We have been doing this. Well, I've been doing this for less than you have, but we've been doing this for a long fucking time now.
Feels like a couple of weeks to me. I guess it's all a matter of perspective.
So long. Vietnam flashbacks are kicking in. But anyway, welcome to Banana Split podcast number 89. This episode's sponsored by Fuck All. I'm Pat. This is Jaden. That joke will never fucking change.
Yeah, we don't suck on that corporate teat either. So
I will. I will. Yeah.
I'm not saying we wouldn't. But for now, we're proudly
self-made.
Yeah. You can't buy us. I mean, you could.
Yeah.
But right now,
it's not even expensive, to be honest.
Yeah. $5. I'll sell out to China. I just got my order.
I
sent it to the other address, my ex's, and I've got like fuck Putin. I've got a guy, you know, that stamped at that's the bad thing though. Like, I keep saying the Ukraine. It's Ukraine, and you know, decades of Soviet oppression will even leach its way into my head. But basically, they released a stamp that commemorated the 6 on this island, this small like little Navy unit that was on some island off the coast, and this ship was coming up. It was right at the beginning of the war, and they were like, hey guys, you better surrender or we'll blow you up. And they got on the radio and were just basically like, yeah, fuck off.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. And I was like, the fuck.
And everyone
is he
thought they got
at?
shelled and died, but apparently they did end up getting picked up and taken prisoner and then returned. But They were lucky. They were very lucky considering what's happening now. It's basically all out genocide.
Anyway, the point was Pat's shirt is says "I stand with Ukraine" that he is currently wearing as he is sitting down.
Yep, I virtue signal with the best of them, but I do donate to the right causes.
You donate to the right wing? Oh.
No, the right. It doesn't sound good, does it? But like, I bought it on a website where the money goes to, like there's all the. That's the cool thing.
You bought it off Peter's Redbubble.
Yeah, no, it wasn't Redbubble, but I did go on Redbubble, but I made sure that the person selling it was like giving the money to Ukrainian.
You took their word
charities.
For it.
Yeah, well, that's all you can do these days. No one would go on the internet and lie.
Was his name?
Come on.
Was the account's name Vladimir Vutin?
Hang on. Did you order from the same guy? He makes good stuff. Since, God, what was it, January, the last one we did? And now it's basically the day after Anzac Day. And the next one will be like sometime in July, probably. But we'll just update on what World War III is creeping along slowly. We've had the Will Smith thing.
That was a hit.
That was huge. Yeah, that was...
Johnny Depp, Amber Heard case is currently ongoing.
That's it.
That's Amber Heard's lawyers. Let's just say I'd be a better lawyer.
She could have shopped around a bit more.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, no, that's all over my TikTok.
No, you know what it is? Amber Heard's lawyers are just really, really big fans of Johnny Depp.
Yeah, they're secretly like...
Go, Johnny!
Double agents or something. Oh, she never had a leg to stand on. It is kind of weird that he's the one that's initiated the proceedings.
Hearsay.
No, he's the one that's...
I object.
Her. I don't know who was recording it. Like
live stream.
Everything they did. No, like when they play clips of phone conversations. I don't know if that was Amber or Johnny that was recording it. But yeah, neither of them come out of this looking super mature, but that's just, no one expects this stuff to end up being broadcast all over social media.
Look, your Facebook crashed.
My Facebook crashed. Why, Facebook? Why? I think Mark genuinely has some kind of... And I didn't even get to talk about the first article that I had lined up.
It's all about Elon right now.
Yeah, well, that was the other thing that happened. Good segue. Good old Muskie boy has gone and bought Twitter, which they'd been mooting for a couple of weeks, but it finally just happened like literally yesterday.
For how much?
41 billion? It was a bunch of billions.
Something like that. It's like 66 Australian billion.
It was a lot. He's Elon Musk. He's got fuck you money.
Yeah.
And now he can delete whoever he wants. He'll probably bring Trump back. He'll probably bring a bunch of other idiots back and lose a lot of people. A lot of the left-wing TikTokers I listen to are like, nope, that's it. I'm done with Twitter. A lot of celebrities are jumping off.
All those lefties and celebrities leaving Twitter.
I thought you were a communist.
Again, I am not a communist.
That's like the most left-wing thing you can be. But the first article I had, which we probably already talked about, but yeah, it's coming out soon, so we should still bring it into the conversation. And that's Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, which is the next big sort of MCU film to drop.
Apart from currently, film, yes.
Film, yeah, not like obviously right now we're watching Moon Knight.
Yes.
I'm one behind, which is, well, are you actually up to date on that?
Yes.
Wow. Good show, because normally you're way back.
There's 4 episodes, and
but they're like an hour long. So, and the production value is like.
I'll be honest.
Film.
I was behind, and then I caught up last week.
Right. Yeah. No, I got up to 3 last night, so I'm sort of fresh. But yeah, it's a fun series. If we're talking about that, I'm having a lot of fun with.
I always like to. I try to date multiple women, but I also find that that's a lot of effort. So I just, I date women with bipolar personality disorder. So I mean,
yeah, it's kind of like a bonus. You wake up in the morning and you get like whoever they wake up as.
Is it Sam or is it Karen? God, that's a cancelable joke, I think.
It's borderline.
Yeah.
But not too bad, like considering. Like going back to the Will Smith thing, I mean, there's no point recapping it. Everyone knows what happened. Oh
my God. Yeah, can we like talk? No, actually, I do want to slightly recap the outrage behind everyone's like, oh, you can't make it. It's a fucking joke. I never said a thing about it. The amount of people that I said, Chris Rock can't joke about that. It's a fucking joke.
Yeah, well, I was watching a Bert Kreischer video today, and he was talking about what sort of jokes that Chris Rock had made in 2016. And that might be some of the bad juju that's built up over the years. Like there's stuff outside what was said on that stage that night. He said a lot worse a few years before.
Yeah. And
they were saying that these days, like in 2020, 2021, The last 3 years have just flown by, but like nothing's changed. Except, yeah, you couldn't make those jokes that he made in 2016 now. Maybe you could, but that was their take. That one of them was basically Jada had, what do you call it, boycotted the Oscars. And he was like, you weren't even invited. That's like me boycotting the panties of Rihanna. It's like me saying, I'm never going to get into Rihanna's panties. Like, she's not inviting Chris Rock. So.
The amount of people, though, that I saw, like, oh, but she's got, what was the disease? What's the disease that
alopecia.
She has? Alopecia. The man's like, oh, yeah, she's got, you can't joke about that. She's got alopecia. And I go, how many jokes do you think Stephen Hawking's heard? I feel like one thing, like, it's a fucking joke, okay? It wasn't even an alopecia joke. It was a bald joke.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't even clear he knew what she had was, like, any kind of... And there's a lot of rumors that it's not even alopecia. I don't know how, like... I'm not going to get into the validity of those.
How many cancer jokes do you think are out there?
There's much worse that have been said. It was poor taste, maybe, but like,
who gives a fuck?
Even Will Smith was laughing, so I don't know. It's a messed up situation. What I don't like is the amount of memes and people I saw trashing him because of the fact that they're in an open marriage and that she has been with other men, or at least one famously, and that he was just kind of like that was somehow related. Who knows? It might be, but I don't like the fact that people are.
Yeah, a lot of people were like, August wouldn't have let it.
Yeah,
like all there was a lot of like Tupac wouldn't have let him say that.
Yeah, some of those jokes I think were in poor taste or just low IQ because it's like they both made the decision to be in an open relationship. He slept with other women as well. Like Jada's not getting any shit for that. She's not being called a cuck. So there's a big double standard there, I think. Just like I don't think anything justifies him slapping or assaulting Chris Rock.
Banned for 10 years.
Some of the backlash is a bit... They should be, having an issue with the slap, not the fact that their relationship is not traditional. I mean, he quit the Oscars because he knew it was coming, and then they said 10 years, you're out. But he'll do all right. He's made plenty of money. He's not going to be in any big blockbusters anytime soon.
Kind of went out on a high note, though.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. He's going to be forever remembered. That was like the other 3 guys in that Bert Kreischer video were like, oh no, he'll be in, some big, huge movie by next year. And Bert was like, no, this is every time he pops up, everyone's just, that's the thing that they'll talk about. Oh, it's Will Smith who slapped Chris Rock. So I don't know. I mean, I know it'll age, but I think it's going to be really hard for him to shake.
Exactly. Like that's the thing you're talking about. You're not even talking about the fact that, 30 minutes later he won Best Actor.
Yeah, no, that's been wiped.
Yeah.
And it sucks that people are defined by their biggest mistake. I believe in second chances and all that sort of thing, but it's just the way it is. I can't see how he's going to dig his way out of that, like image-wise. So, because he was always like, the new sort of Bill Cosby, because obviously that guy's
that's a choice
reputation had been shattered by the whole rapey scandal. So they were like, oh, who's our next like favorite wholesome person of color that we just who's a super happy-go-lucky, like his image was associated with like everything good about America. There was no drama, there was no cancel. I can't remember any other controversy ever. So that's why it was partly why it was such a huge shock. If you want to hear a good take, and I know I always bring up this show, Fat Man Beyond, Mark Bernardin has really good take on it, the whole thing. So, and I think it's like 2 or 3 episodes ago. Anyway, if you're listening to this, you should definitely be listening to that because it's like what we do, but 1,000 times better. Sorry, man.
I'm cutting all that. No free advertising on my fucking show.
It's just it's what I would
sell out.
It's like the dream. That's where we're like down here and it's up there, and that's. I'm not saying we can't ever get better. I'm just saying it's if you want to see what this should be right now, that's kind of like jump on there and have a look. But yeah, one of them is a director. The other one's like a writer that's still doing projects for Disney and all sorts of other big. Yeah, so it's hard to kind of. It's like saying, if we just grind a bit harder, we'll be the next Joe Rogan. Like, so anyway, Multiverse of Madness. We're going to get Wolverine. We're going to get. I think someone said Deadpool's definitely not in it, so that's a disappointment.
We're allegedly going to get Wolverine. I
yeah,
will
it's
not
all like
confirm
rumors.
this. Okay, here's what we know. All right,
Charles for sure.
Charles Xavier.
Yeah.
Therefore,
slowly bringing in the X-Men. Yeah.
The Illuminati. Reed Richards.
who is being played by John Krasinski, apparently.
Allegedly.
Again, a rumor, but fairly well. Like the guy who leaked it has always been like, all his stuff has come good so far.
So hopefully we're also getting, because I believe Spider-Man's also in the Illuminati. So hopefully Andrew Garfield maybe.
Yeah, I've heard, like, because I follow Reddit a bit, it just pops up this topic, and I've heard that's the problem. The other two, all three, have all been like, yes, yes, yes. Everyone's been like, obviously Charles, Jim from The Office, definitely in it. But yeah, the Andrew Garfield thing I've heard back and forth. Like, no, he's not. Yes, he is. I don't know. I'm going to wait and see. I don't know why they wouldn't use... Obviously, Tom Holland is going to be in it at some point.
Is he?
Why not? I mean, if you're going to use Spider-Man, why wouldn't you use the most recent, well-known Spider-Man?
Because the way Spider-Man No Way Home ended?
Yeah, you could incorporate it. I mean, I know he made, like, the fact that... I think Doctor Strange would somehow pretty quickly work out who he is.
Listen, let's not talk about the lazy writing that was that ending, all right? There's a
we did that last time.
I could wrap that shit up in 5 minutes.
Agreed.
Oh, yeah. Wait, hold up. The big one, obviously, and that I've seen screenshots of, that I will say will almost confirmable.
What?
Tom Cruise.
Oh,
Iron
really?
Man.
Really?
Yeah.
I heard that, but I thought it was a joke.
No.
Yeah, that's popped up a few times, and I'm like, nah.
Specifically, Superior Iron Man. So what I'm guessing is, it's
his first appearance in the MCU. The
variant Iron Man, and the
Yeah.
only difference between that Iron Man and this Iron Man is, I'm assuming, apart from the appearance, would be that he probably didn't get blown up in Iran.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Never got taken, and he just eventually got that. So he was still a dick the entire time.
Yeah, he'd be a total dick. Yeah. He was awful before he sort of got humbled and everything. I wonder how much money they had to throw at him. Because, I mean, I'm sure he'd be happy to be part of the world, but he doesn't, like, work for... I think the only film where he worked for scale, and I could be misremembering this, was Tropic Thunder. Like, he just did that because he loved the people he was working with, and he got to do his own thing. Like, it was his idea to do that wild take. It's a screen cap you're going to throw
There's
up.
a few of them.
Okay,
that's the first one.
To me, that's kind of vague, but all right. That'll be wild. Yeah, I heard someone else say there's going to be as many audience reactions as No Way Home in terms of like, oh, everyone losing their mind. So I'm looking forward to that. Beyond that, I don't know. Like, oh wait, is Love and Thunder coming out after this? Obviously,
I'd assume so.
Yeah,
I don't know the official date.
The trailer's been dropped. Yeah, I wish we could make this more of a clip show, but anyway, the trailer has dropped for Love and Thunder. Oh, wait, have you seen Reacher? I still haven't watched it, but it's how the Reacher film should have been, apparently. Which
isn't it a series?
Yeah, it's a series, but it's done like how the author would have preferred. He's tall, he's huge, he's unstoppable, he's like force of nature, and apparently it's super addictive and satisfying. Like it's one of those old school, almost like 80s style action movies. So I don't know if it's worth getting into that. Soderbergh is mad that superhero movies don't have any sex scenes.
I don't even know who the fuck that is.
Steven Soderbergh, he's the director of Traffic, of a lot of like award-winning indie movies and stuff. If you want that, Steven, you go and make one. I'm sure the boys wouldn't mind throwing you an episode or two.
Another Watchmen movie.
Yep, just get back on board with that franchise. I mean, they've only rebooted it twice.
Futurama has been rebooted at Hulu.
Is there any news on whether Bender's voice... He's actually been confirmed now? Because he was pushing...
He's back.
Okay, I hadn't seen that. Because I know when the reports initially surfaced, he was holding out for a higher like pay packet.
No, well, then they did. Apparently, they didn't want him.
No, they would have wanted him, but it was all like about the money. His name's like Joe DiMaggio or something, or is that a baseball player? John DiMaggio, yeah. Joe was the baseball player.
Joe DiMaggio.
He's finalizing a deal to return as well, that it's not yet closed. And it wasn't just like his own greed, it was like he wants everyone to get paid more. So considering how many times it's been brought out again, I can understand why I don't know if they were paid like pocket change the first couple of times, but
probably animated. Yeah. Funny enough, I was speaking to a friend about how as a kid I was obsessed with Neighbours, and they were telling me, oh, I still watch it. I was like, what? So then, I left after hanging out with them, and then maybe 10 minutes, and I turned around and went back, and I went, hey, by the way, I just saw this. Boom! Neighbours has been cancelled. Sorry, Paul Robinson.
Who's that?
It's like the oldest character in the show. He's been there
was he
since
like
day
their
one.
Alf? Was that the guy that went missing for a while, like the old dude with the glasses?
No.
Oh.
He was like the bad guy of the show
Oh,
constantly.
okay. I never really watched the entire episode. I just saw bits and pieces over the years. But I think Home and Away is on the way out as well. It's just that audience is dwindling.
What I really like to be on the way out?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, there's a lot of things wrong with that show. And I watched almost every minute of the latest season, for better or worse. But it's just so addictive. It's just the most trashy, manipulative, toxic programming ever.
That's why you
But there's
watch
something I keep
Are
coming
You the
back to.
One on Netflix. There's a new season.
Is that the Australian one?
No, it's the
Okay.
it's the one. It was the clip that I showed you of. Oh, that's a black chick.
But isn't Are You the one where they have all the lights and they turn the lights off?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I can't remember the clip then. But I remember watching, because now I'm pretty addicted to Gogglebox, and they showed the
You
Australian.
are watching people watch TV.
Yes. And I want to do a show where I'm and that got really meta because there was a celebrity Gogglebox, and the normal Gogglebox was watching the celebrity Gogglebox watch TV and reacting to the reactions to the it was a bit too much.
It's a real good thing that Futurama has been rebooted, because take it away, Professor Farnsworth. I don't want to live on this planet anymore.
Yeah, no, so many good lines that come from that show, and it's a real pity that not everyone has been exposed to it. I think it should be.
Zoidberg.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm looking forward to what they come up with, as long as the same writers are on board. And now that I hear Bender's back, because it wouldn't be the same without. That voice is very distinctive.
Bite my shiny metal ass.
Yeah, it's got to be him, and the other people have to be those people. So hopefully they capture the magic of the original thing.
Yeah, before the voice actor for Fry dies.
I don't know when this is happening, but a live-action Blade Runner series is in the works, and yeah, I'm here for it. That's totally my wheelhouse.
I think
Cyberpunk. It's one of my favorite films of all time.
I think next episode I'm going to lift the camera so you can just see our heads.
Yeah,
It'll be
normally
funny.
you can see more of us, right? Did you zoom in a little?
Well, yeah, and I shrink us a little bit in the edit now, so there's more of a background.
Oh, so Ivan Reitman died on the 14th of February, so that's a while ago now. But at least he got to see the Ghostbusters reboot. So, and they're talking about, speaking of which, so it is relevant. They just announced that they're doing a sequel to the reboot of Ghostbusters. So
Please, before Bill Murray
yeah,
dies.
and it's not really a reboot. Like it is like a spiritual
Continuation.
Yeah, it is kind of a sequel. So I just don't think we'll see the original guys back again. They really had the perfect send off in.
I haven't seen it.
You still haven't seen it? It is really good. I don't want to spoil anything, but definitely watch it. If you're any kind of fan of the original film, this is the best one since then.
All right.
It's great.
Or anything you say, Keymaster.
Yeah. So apparently Netflix is doing BioShock, but that came out in February, that article. And now, who knows what Netflix is doing? That's the other news we hadn't really mentioned, is that their stock price has kind of tanked recently and have cancelled a fuck ton of their projects. So not just the...
And they increased the bill. And they're doing a whole password sharing thing now.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen some pretty good memes where they're like, should we be like maybe letting shows go for more than one season when they get great reviews and lots of like fan engagement, or should we just cancel them after one season? I know what the problem is. It's password sharing, and it's like
no, the viewers are out of touch.
Yeah, the viewers are out of touch. So what was the other? So they're doing the password sharing thing. They're cracking down on. They're making it more expensive. Oh, and the real kicker, something that for years,
yes, basic ads in ads in the basic subscription. It's fine.
Yeah.
I've got the top tier one. I won't see them.
Yeah, I've already got the top tier one, but it's still like really grinds my gears that they're going
it really
that direction.
grinds my gears.
Yeah, no, that is not that was one of their main selling points also in their marketing, that we don't have ads. So it's just kind of pushing a lot of people I know back to flying the Jolly Roger. Yeah, they're shooting themselves in the foot a bit. I don't know if they're walking that fine line well enough. I know they have to be profitable, and up to this point they actually are. Like, a lot of the reason the stock price is going down is, well, they lost 700,000 users when they pulled out of Russia along with everyone else. So if you take that into account, they actually gained 500,000 viewers. But the problem was that they'd projected like 1 million. So it was all image. It was all like, oh no, they're not doing what they said they'd do. And then they lost like however many $1 billion worth in share price value. And that's not an indication really of how well the business is always doing. A lot of that's based on like fickle emotive reactions. So hopefully they get this shit together and we can still get some good content, because yeah, it really would be the end of an era if Netflix sort of went to shit, like fully, because they've come up with some of the best TV we've had.
You should rename the.
God, I can't believe Blockbuster actually tried to get in on that eventually. Like way too late. There was someone posted like a Age Like Wine tweet from Blockbuster, and it was like 2005 or something. And there was some sort of thing going on with Netflix, and they're like, oh, hashtag and tell us why you left Netflix, and we'll give you a free 6 months with Blockbuster. So they were clearly trying to do the same thing, and then it just tanked. Like it was way too late. Considering that, Netflix had offered Blockbuster.
There's a great documentary on how Netflix offered Blockbuster
a whole bunch of money, or a really good deal, basically, when they were starting out, and they were just moving over to digital. And Blockbuster just looked at them and laughed and said, you're never going to come close to our retail presence, and nothing will ever change, and we'll always be on top. And
So, we've also seen trailers for something that I'm very excited for. Season 3 of The Boys.
I don't think I've seen the trailer. With that show, I'm perfectly fine with not having seen that trailer.
Oh my god!
Because I like the show so much that I'd rather be surprised.
Oh my god! Yeah,
No.
there's some things that you are going to
No.
be surprised about.
Yeah,
man.
I'm just going to wait and let it just all wash over me.
God, I can't even talk about what happened there.
Yeah.
I can't believe they had King Kong in it.
No, I got to stay away from all that stuff. As soon as it drops, I'll watch it. But yeah, I don't know if they're doing the whole season at once, or they're going to drop it like.
I can't believe you see Homelander's dick. See, that could be a lie. That
I mean,
could be
that's
the
like
truth.
how
They'll
they
never
ended
know.
the last season, wasn't it? Like him jerking off. Yeah.
into the city. Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if they used a prosthetic. Because I don't know. Did you ever get on that bandwagon with Euphoria?
Yes, actually, I'm up to season 2, and I'm like, it's
Nice.
okay.
Yeah. There's a lot of dicks in that show. And
That's a common theme, I think, now in
Yep.
modern day TV as well.
Mm.
There's just a lot more dicks.
I'm here for it. Like I'm all about equal opportunity genitalia.
Equal cockatooity.
Yep. But it's kind of funny when you see like clips of the stars behind the scenes talking about what they had to do and how they rigged it up and all this sort of thing. Because the father of one of the main characters, who gets around a bit, and has this like wholesome sort of image, but on the down low, he's like stooping every available rent boy in the tri-state area.
Oh yeah, the dick one. Yeah. And
he's,
but the father's also the same way.
Well, like I am talking about the father. I don't think the son so much. I mean, he's playing around. He certainly did that whole like. I don't want to talk about it too much, like spoiler wise, but the
It
whole
was a
first
season ago.
Yeah, the season with what would you call it? Catfishing. Yeah, where he catfished not Rue, the
other one.
I mean it's the
One
first
more.
like super popular soap opera where one of the main characters is trans. I'd say.
Soap opera?
Well, what would you call it? Like it's drama, it's comedy,
I wouldn't
it's
call it a soap opera though.
I don't know. A
It's
lot
not
of
a fucking
teenagers
show.
watch it. It's very soapy. It goes by. There's a lot of formula amongst all like the groundbreaking nudity, like extreme drug taking stuff, violence. It is basically sticking to the formula of most soap operas in terms of the narrative. There's some slow episodes, but I still think it's, if you've got any sense of taste and are down for like amazing acting,
Down with the sickness.
then check it out. Yeah. I'd be keen if anyone watches this to hear what you think, but I tried recommending it to a few people and it's not for everyone. Like my ex tried and she was like, nah, couldn't make it through the first episode. It was too like confronting. Apparently a lot of her friends had the same problem. Like, and these people are nurses, like they're hard to rattle. That's one thing that disturbed me because I only found out about it through my son, who's a teenager, and watching it later, like knowing he'd seen it all, I was like, oh boy, okay, wow.
Show him 13 Reasons Why next.
Yeah, I think he saw some of that. Like that's not even edgy at all compared to like Euphoria is probably the edgiest thing I've seen
Yeah, for sure.
in a while.
But speaking of a lot of dicks,
Yeah.
Jackass Forever.
Yeah, we went and saw that at the cinema.
A lot of dicks.
Yeah. But they're not like, it's not sexual. It's just pain.
Just dicks.
So it's like, it was weird
I
seeing
mean, the
it with-
opening scene is just straight up a giant dick coming.
Yeah, it's dressed up as like a volcano, Godzilla or something. Like it's painted. So,
Green.
well, it's not coming. It's,
No, it is.
what?
Yeah.
I mean, it
was
simulated.
Yeah. It
It's not
wasn't
actually-
real cum,
yeah,
but
yeah.
there. It was implied cum.
Jesus Christ. Now that would have been a bit too far. Yeah, they would have had to
However,
get yeah.
Once again, Chris Pontius has drinking some animal semen.
Yeah, God, there was so much shit that went on.
That was the only scene that I went like gagged in was
Yeah.
as I'm eating chicken that I've brought in from Nando's.
Right, so you watched it on like Amazon or whatever.
No, I watched it in movies.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, that was quite painful to watch, but my son loved it, so whatever. I just
You
but
see
we did have some looks, like other people in the audience were like, oh.
very briefly. You see
was
Bam
too young.
Majira.
Yeah, there's a scene where they're
The
in
band one,
Yeah,
yeah.
I was going to say, like they're getting on a treadmill and
Just
they
eating
just all
shit.
got wrecked. I think
Yeah.
everyone got injured somehow. One of them got knocked out. I know Johnny Knoxville got knocked out a few times,
Yeah.
mainly
The-
when he got hit by the bull.
and the giant
Which is like-
cannon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
every
brain
time he gets in
damage.
the ring with a bull, it just never ends well. I
Yeah.
don't know why he keeps doing it.
I did like to see the new people impress me quite a bit. The chick especially.
Yeah, yeah, more of that.
Reckless.
I don't know if they'll keep doing stuff like with that brand, or they'll
I
brand.
think so. I
you
think
know?
they should.
Yeah,
Who else was in it? There was that one comedian.
I know Tyler the Creator was. in it.
Tyler the Creator was in it, who was
Yeah.
also basically a comedian.
Yeah, no, he's a funny guy. And weirdly, like moving away from rap and into more of a pop jazz world.
Mm.
And they keep giving him Grammys for best rap album, and he's like, "This isn't rap. You're just calling it rap because I'm black." But okay, I'll take it. Is it the guy that's always on those roast shows?
No.
Or he's on earlier versions of Jackass. God, because I'm remembering them being at like a coffee van,
Yeah.
and that fucks with them. Like there's some kind of like, because of COVID, they had this like weird system where you
Eric
had to,
Andre.
yeah, Eric Andre. No, so not the roast battles. It was more like he had a roast battle style show where they
Yeah.
would come on and he would just,
And we also had
do weird
Machine Gun
shit.
Kelly.
yeah, there was a lot going on in that show. But
good.
Yeah, I mean, if you're into people being wrecked by giant prosthetics and getting covered in
I
gross
wish
stuff.
Tyler the Creator was in it more.
Yeah, he was good. I mean, that I'm glad I'll never have to go through whatever.
I just love how
pain that
he
was.
immediately knew. He went, "What the fuck is on my seat?"
Yeah, there was no tricking him. They were like,
Yeah.
he thinks he's just going to play the piano, but we're going to shock him. And as soon as he sat down, I was like, "You're going to shock me." And they're like, "No, it's going to
What
be
the fuck
fine."
is underneath my seat?
Yeah,
It's just like, why is this metal?
yeah. And he made sure the director
Yeah.
felt how much it was. It must have been a big shock.
Yeah, it was like, are you sitting down? And like before you can answer, it zaps him,
Yeah.
and he's holding it.
So Charlie Sheen will be back, which is weird
Doubt
because the few images I've seen of him recently, he's not looking good. And several Entourage actors will play themselves in a new series called Ramble On. They're basically doing like, I don't know if it's going to be set in the same universe as Entourage, but they'll be running around Hollywood. That was a dumb show, but I did have some fun with it. I don't know if you've ever seen Entourage.
No, actually, I saw a clip from it today on TikTok, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I should watch Entourage.
Yeah, it seems like it'll be in your wheelhouse. It's like pretty lowbrow, but there's a couple of like meme-worthy moments. There's one scene where Matt Dillon is that.
I don't know who that is. All I know is Entourage is meant to be
It's
based
not
on
Matt Dillon. I think it's Matt Dillon's brother.
It's meant to be based on Mark Wahlberg and his friends, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah. I mean, he's even in it a couple of times. Matt Damon's in it a few times, and there's some pretty good clips from that you might see on YouTube or TikTok. But yeah, no, and there's some really beautiful women. Of course, there's a couple of Australian actresses that I was like, oh, I know her.
Mhm.
So, well, not know her, but you know,
So on to our professional wrestling segment.
yes.
We will start with the slightly low note and then go to the lower note. Former WWE champion Big E, also known as Big E Langston of the New Day, suffered a broken neck.
Did it involve someone else fucking up, or was it just his own thing? Like he jumped off the ropes and
Yeah, it was definitely a fuck up. So basically, the best way I can explain this to an audience that doesn't understand wrestling moves and stuff is he held the other dude, Madcap Moss, basically grabbed him chest to chest and threw him over. and he sort of landed on his head.
So the other dude's name is Madcap.
Madcap Moss.
Cool. So does that mean that Big E owes Madcap Moss a receipt?
Hey, look at you with your wrestling lingo.
I've been watching YouTube videos with my 6-year-old,
Yeah.
so we're picking it up.
Don't watch Dark Side of the Ring. Unless you like the documentary styles of the darkest parts of wrestling, and then you'll be like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, no, the receipt video was good. They had clips from like podcasts explaining all the beefs behind each. It was like the top 10 receipts given out. It was really cool.
A lot of Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart, hey?
Yeah, there was stuff from way back in the 90s, but I liked hearing them. They dig up some like random old podcast and have it playing while they were showing the footage.
You probably saw Chris Jericho and Shane McMahon, and that was a receipt.
Because I know a lot of it's acted, but when it goes wrong, and there was some
clips. The Great Antonio, that's the famous one.
Yeah, that rings a bell. It was more just seeing like, in this one, it was supposed to be like a light tap on the jaw, and he just went for it, and you see the fist connect, and you're like, oh shit, he's not.
That probably that's
yeah.
Also
Well, there's one where a guy jumps up, Brock Lesnar,
Brock and Braun Strowman.
Yeah, and Strowman.
Yeah, Brock
puts his knee into him, and Brock's like, screw you, I am taking you down.
Bang bang.
Yeah, those weren't like there was no sort of how they normally stamp the ring to like give the effect of. He didn't have to do that. He just
punched him in the fucking face.
And I was like, more of that. I want to see. I mean, they wouldn't be able to fight for as long. I think they would all be like in the hospital for 6 months a year. But I'd be more for that.
Have you considered the UFC?
I know, but they just end up crawling around on the ground. Like it's very. I just can't. It's not as easy to follow. So it's that weird like. If you want to see them really fight, then it ends up just grappling because that's the most effective way of taking someone out. But if you want to watch it for entertainment, then there's WWE because then they're jumping around and they're doing the high flying kicks. It's more visually.
If you want to see stuff that's that seems real hard and real stiff, I highly recommend New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Okay,
that'll be up your alley for sure.
Yeah. Well, we put some AEW on. That was pretty good.
Ooh, AEW.
Yeah. I was a bit more impressed with that. Seemed a bit more hardcore.
As well, we have unfortunately lost Razor Ramon, aka Scott Hall, has passed away of heart problems.
Mm-hmm.
So Pullman out for the bad guy.
Rip.
Yeah, not much really can be said.
Yeah, I don't know the guy. I know like the big names mainly. But
Scott Hall was a big name.
Scott Hall.
Yeah.
Okay.
Founder of the NWO.
All right, I know who the NWA are. I know who Paul. Yeah.
It was
I know
Hulk
who Hulk
Hogan,
Hogan
Kevin
is.
Nash, and Scott Hall.
All right. Okay. Yeah. I mean, are they having heart attacks because they're still cycling on the gear? And was it just
Scott Hall was also, like he was substance abuse, and he turned his life around with the help of another wrestler, DDP.
Yeah.
Diamond Dallas Page.
It can be too little, too late sometimes, unfortunately.
And this past weekend, I was at a show that you almost went to as well, PWA King of the Metro.
But was that for like you couldn't be? You had to be 18.
18.
Yeah. We were going to go to that, but then
you bought the Beer
6.
Bash tickets. Did you even end up going by yourself, or?
No, it's really like something that I enjoy a lot through the eyes of my son. So, and maybe I'll pick it up as well. Like we did see some wrestling at that, which we haven't talked about yet. They had a little comic convention in St. Mary's, of all places, in a giant sports hall, and there was like 3 large rooms full of mostly just stalls, but there was a wrestling ring, and that was some pretty cool stuff. Like they really got into it. So, you didn't know who they were.
Wouldn't even be high quality wrestling because I know some. Well, I have no idea who half the wrestlers are. I recognized a few of them.
Yeah,
I'm not going to name any names.
Right. They did a cool bit though, where when they did the Royal Rumble at the end with like 6 wrestlers, they dragged in like the actual commentator.
Yeah.
The 2 guys that were at the desk, they just threw them in. Like one of the wrestlers, he'd hurt himself at some point. Like I think he had a legit injury, so he just engineered it so they got the MCs in, and obviously they got the shit kicked out of them. But it was pretty funny to watch. Like they were doing all the standard like heel moves, shouting at the audience, which was
crowd work.
Yeah, there was a bit of crowd work, and there was some pretty cool like athletic off the ropes type stuff. But I'm not like the guy that should be judging amateur wrestling. But I guess if I end up going to a few more events, I'll be able to like tell the difference a bit easier. I mean, it wasn't WWE level, obviously, but the last time I actually watched any was a couple of years ago when a famous cosplayer, or he was well loved in the community, passed away, and he was an amateur wrestler. And he was also a truck driver too. So it was like they did this in Penrith at some bar. They had like a wrestling ring set up, and they had a few people do like an event there in like memory of him. And for some reason, I think it was Justin, his name. I'm going to look that up. Because this is all from like 5 or 6 years ago.
Justin, not maybe a Paul. I know the name Justin. I never met Justin.
Because I only met him once at like a cosplay event. It was similar. It was Collectomania, and we were like judges for a little like silly cosplay competition. But yeah, he seemed like a nice guy. Been in the scene for a long time. Because I think it's only been around really since like 05 or something, like in a big way. And then I didn't start hanging out with people until like 2014 or something. And now I don't know what's happening because, well, COVID kind of wrecked it. And it's starting to slowly bounce back. Like they had a PAX in America recently. Mm-hmm. And that was huge. Like I was hearing all the old stories again of like people waiting for hours in like huge halls, all these crazy cosplays.
Eventually we'll get back Iron Fest.
Yeah, well, there was an AGM, I think, last week. So hopefully we hear some. I'll have to message them and see how that pans out for. It probably won't be this year.
Well, no, they already said it wasn't this year.
Yeah. So you've just got to be patient. And,
that's because Lithgow Council, whatever, didn't want to fund it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know there was some issues with funding. That's a real. They need like so much money to set up something that big.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So it's not something you can just
not
be
to
like,
mention us. I mean, like we were giving away a big cash prize of $1,000.
Hey, it all adds up. You know, plus all the donated prizes from the stalls. Yeah, by 23, I think we'll be all over this bullshit.
And I'll have a microphone once again in my hands in front of an audience.
And that slick jacket.
Different jacket.
Yeah, you might get too buff for that if you keep up this gym.
Again, different jacket.
Right.
I've already upgraded that jacket.
Okay.
There's already a new one that hasn't fucking... Well, it's been worn out, but it's not been worn to that. Otherwise, I'll just dress as a jester or a king of some sort.
Yeah, no, you got a lot of options.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're going to talk about the whole drama with Disney. A lot of the right-wing people are starting to try and cancel it because they've been featuring LGBTQI characters more prominently. They're refusing to delete scenes from Doctor Strange, Multitude of Madness in its release.
Multitude? I thought it was Multiverse.
That's the one.
Good Close old enough. Multitude of Madness.
Yep, that's the variant.
Yeah, that's the multiverse
That's the thing.
version.
You can get it wrong and be like, yeah, it was named that in a different... Anyway, so yeah, Saudi Arabia and a whole bunch of countries are like, you can't release this unless you delete that scene. And they're like,
no.
Fuck you. So, which
what
is...
We're the mouse.
A couple of years ago, they would have just gone, okay, and got rid of it. So I'm glad that they're holding their own. Well, they're still pretty toxic. Like there's still some fucked up shit, like the amount of money they were donating to Republicans. But
see if they still give in to China though.
Yeah, because there was an issue I think with the kiss between lesbian characters at the end of like Star Wars, and I don't know if that was in the Chinese
as well as the New Zealand one for some reason.
What?
Yeah, it wasn't in the New Zealand one.
Wow. Okay, that's bizarre. That was probably accidental. I don't know what. I didn't hear about that.
Okay. Yeah.
Scott Hall. Oh yeah. Yeah. I know who that is.
I don't know about you, but I'm feeling like vengeance.
Oh, Batman. I did eventually see that by myself at the new. Well, I don't know when they renovated, but I wasn't too impressed. It's probably been set up now for a year or two. But yeah, it's the first time I've been in West Point, Blacktown.
Oh, God.
It's a Hoyts. They switched all their drinks about a year ago, apparently.
Oh, here we go.
To Pepsi products. I sent a very angry message to their Facebook page, and they replied in kind and said, sorry that you're not happy with our current services, but we, for now, are going to stay with the Pepsi brand. And until that's rectified, until that mistake has been corrected, I will not be going to the Hoyts chain of cinemas. But I guess we're here to talk about Batman. So otherwise, it was good.
I still will. Feel free to, if you want to sponsor the Banana Split podcast or me, I'll make sure he never says anything negative ever again.
Yeah, we're basically blackmailing you into the sponsorship there.
Nope, not blackmailing.
Okay. Not for nothing, but I could be.
It's a nice cinema you got there. Would be a shame if
we trashed it. Yeah, well, the other thing that annoyed me is you could only buy popcorn in these tiny little square boxes. And like the largest box was like the size of the small box at events. When you open it, it's only half full. And I was like, oh, can you top it up? No. Well, there's all its room. No. So, yeah. Whereas if you go to events, you fill it yourself. You can put as much in there as you need. If you're an even slightly regular attendee, you get a VIP, whatever it's called, events pass. You can refill as much as you want, which I usually don't have to, but it's still like nice that they do it. So yeah, just over the years I've noticed that events are just so much more customer focused. So eat that. But yeah, the Batman film itself, I think it didn't need the last sort of half hour. Like the third act was kind of tacked on to make it more blockbustery. I was more down for the first two sections, which were like the whodunit, detective, noir, thriller, where it was like Catwoman was doing a lot of the actual work, like the legwork and finding out who was behind everything. Batman wasn't Robert Pattinson as Batman. I think he did really well, but he didn't come across as any kind of master detective. I mean, all the riddle solving was done by Alfred.
True.
A lot of the detective stuff was done with like technology rather than any kind of brilliant work.
But how cool was the Batmobile though?
It was pretty cool for a hot rod. I mean, it wasn't like some weird concept car from a video game. It was like an actual car. The only nod to like the Batman universe was, its color. Obviously, it was very black. It was bulletproof. Like that thing was launched through fireballs,
which was real.
I mean, that was all real effects, and you could tell they did some pretty high-tech wizardry with the lighting, where it was all LED lighting, so they didn't have to use CGI as much. I don't know. I watched a whole TikTok on all this like brand new stuff they could do to make it look really sick, and I was just like, I don't get it, but I'm down. And they're going to use the same technology in apparently the next couple of Marvel movies. So
nice.
Yeah, it was pretty funny because Robert Pattinson did the audition.
Oh, you're talking about the wardrobe try-on and the
that was like not 2003, but it was years ago. It was like way back. It was when he just started filming with Tenet, and they wanted him to come back for another.
How does he find a way to always bring Tenet?
Yeah, it's got to get brought. It's never going to die.
This is fucking the Red Dead Redemption.
It was pretty funny.
Movies.
He told Christopher Nolan he needed a day off for an emergency. Someone in his family had died, and so can I please go and like attend to that? And Nolan was like, "You're auditioning for Batman, aren't you?" I was like, "Oh no, it's a family thing." And then a couple of they almost finished with the Tenet filming.
And yeah, I was auditioning for Batman.
He got told he'd got the part, and no one knew apparently.
Yeah, but Nolan.
And he wasn't allowed to, but Nolan knew.
Nolan's the one who told him.
I think he got told, but then Nolan somehow went, "You got Batman, didn't you?" That's the thing I read recently, and I just thought that was really cool. That of course, the director of the new Batman is going to tell Nolan, like he's going to be in the loop. So why would you even try to like? I guess there's a lot of pressure to stick to your NDAs and all that, but I mean it's Christopher Nolan, dude. Hopefully he's happy with the way the torch was passed on. They make it darker every time. I don't know how they do it, but yeah,
don't take your kids to this. Don't take your kids.
No, it's not. It's funny because every time I go into Big W or Target or Kmart and I check out the toy section as I do, looking for new or rare Hot Wheels or whatever, I glance at the action figure section. And I'm like, that's a lot of Batman stuff that isn't getting sold. I don't know how well they're doing, but it reminds me of like even the original 1989 Batman when that came out, and it was like a lot darker than people expected. And they were doing Happy Meals with the Batman products, and it was just kind of hard to marry them up, especially I think when they did the second film, and that was even darker. And that's when they went, oh, we've gone too far. and they reeled it back in with like all those silly. It wasn't Michael Bay. It was some ridiculous. That's when like George Clooney almost killed it.
Ah, yes.
But that was kind of like a knee-jerk reaction to it getting that dark, where even McDonald's was like too scared to take Happy Meals. And thankfully now they've gone back to that and just been, fuck it, we don't need to do Happy Meals. We've got enough other things to make money doing that with. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm just glad they had the balls to do this the way they did it. And you could nitpick, I guess, but I think the next one will be even better.
Yeah, for sure. But my question is, when he uses the adrenaline in the final act.
That's Venom, isn't it?
Yeah, is that Venom?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be Venom.
It's basically Venom. Because
adrenaline ain't green.
Yeah, and it's the first one where there's no pearls. So there's a lot of stuff like he's already put away the Joker. I think there's a deleted scene that's gone around that's a bit over the top. There's a lot of stuff like you have to just... It's very like when he starts singing Ave Maria, the Riddler, and I don't know if we're going to do spoilers, but like the city might get a bit wet at some point.
There
was no sort of like, it was weird that they'd never at any point, there was no, normally there's foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Like, hey, it's a good thing those walls are there, otherwise we'd get flooded. It's just never mentioned.
Like what I expected him to essentially, when he said like leaving these all day, I went like, oh, he's going to make Arkham City.
Yeah. I like that they brought his mother into the story in terms of like the reason they built Arkham Asylum was because his father was inspired by his mother needing all that help. And I maybe I wasn't paying attention well enough, and I'll certainly watch it again at some point. But the whole thing where the Riddler basically accuses the Waynes of being like at the center of all the biggest corruption in the city, I don't know how that got resolved. Like, did he eventually exonerate his father and found out that the Riddler was wrong? Or was it just like, oh, well, he made a mistake. He made a deal with someone he shouldn't have, but he meant well. So I'll just do what I got to do.
It was still Maroni, wasn't it?
Yeah, in the end, it was the big bad, like, gangster dude.
So it's like, fuck who.
Yeah. So, and obviously there's plenty of other villains they can bring out. Like, I'm sure we'll see more of the Joker.
I'm sure we'll see Harvey Dent.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm here for it. I'm just glad they didn't keep going with that whole, like, Justice League Batman. I don't mind Affleck, but it was just so cheesy.
So, for Harvey Dent, right, is he going to be physically burned or is he going to have multiple personality syndrome?
I'm hoping a bit of both. Because they seem to go really over the top. Like, it's the ugliest Joker I've seen so far.
Yeah, but
it's the ugliest Penguin. Everything is just dark and ugly.
But except for Batman and
he's pretty.
And Catwoman.
Yeah, well, they represent the light. You know.
Catwoman representing the light. She's a bit grey.
I mean, she had to have a taste, but she was still like a heart of gold. You know, the whole thing was like getting revenge for her Russian sex slave trafficked friend. So
anyway, I loved the Riddler. I thought it was amazing casting for it. Perfect. He gave me real school shooter vibes.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot of those at conventions.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know if you'd say easy to cosplay, but it looks like it's achievable. Yeah. You just got to...
Because people have found the mask already.
Yeah, you could probably get a lot of that stuff at like disposal stores and get a very similar look. Yeah, I mean, the guy didn't get a lot of time to... Every scene he was in, he kind of overacted. Like, that was the character, so it's...
Like, it sort of felt like they were going for... They didn't want it to be like, all right, this was made for this. They wanted to seem like, all right, this is something he's put together.
Yeah, they try... It's like...
They grounded it.
Oh, there was a tweet... It was like every Batman they make, they're trying to make it like slightly closer to reality. And in this film, I can't remember the exact tweet, but it was like... They brought reality a bit closer to Batman in this. They brought the world more into Batman's universe, if that makes sense. Like, there's a lot of stuff in there where you're like, hey, that could happen. But there's also quite a lot of like, okay, this is its own weird little universe. Like the way he gets blown up at one point in the church and they drag him all the way back to the police station, which is, okay, maybe across the road. No one even thinks about taking his mask off until he's starting to wake up and he's in like an interrogation room. And then he's like, wait, no, now I'll wake up and stop you. So, and the fact that you thought that the Riddler all along knew who he was.
And
like he even has photos of him and is like, is this the Batman? I think he was fairly like
confident, but
Yeah, he was on the edge. But then when he came to visit him in the asylum, he's like, "Oh, we're both on the same side. We want to take down those evil bastards like that Bruce Wayne fella."
and he went,
"Hang on,
yeah.
I thought you knew that was okay. I won't say anything." Yeah, so I was a bit disappointed. I thought surely he was smart enough, but because really it doesn't take that much. Like when he came back to the nightclub where all the bad guys hang out, and he said exactly the same thing he said the first time when he'd come with like the full suit on.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Do you know who I am?" They're like, "Oh yeah," and they let him in. It's just like, dude, that was like not even like a look between them to go like, "Hang on," that felt a bit familiar. Like I don't know.
How many concussions do you think they've had?
Yeah, true. Many concussions. There were some awesome scenes. Like it almost reminded me of the Darth Vader scene in Rogue One. There's a point where he's running through a hallway and it's only lit up by the muzzle flashes of the machine guns.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, some pretty cool shots in that film. So yeah, all up, I don't know.
Is that towards the end? Yeah, it's toward the end.
Yeah, some really good action scenes in there.
That's actually no.
I think that was in the nightclub.
That's about the midway point when.
So he's fighting like Maroney's goons or something.
Yeah, when Catwoman's about to kill Maroni, right?
Yeah, and I really want one of those like contact lenses that they use.
Okay, good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck. I think the closest you'll get right now is the Ray-Ban smart glasses.
Okay, what do they do?
Pretty much like all that. Essentially,
Wow.
it's they're tied with Facebook.
All right, that sounds something like I need because I don't have enough things tracking where I go and what I buy. Yeah, so I saw that. I haven't seen Morb yet.
No,
I hear it's really good, so I'm
that
looking
even
forward
out?
to that. Yeah, no, it's been out for a few weeks.
I've heard
apparently.
it's shit.
No, it's great. It's one of the best Sony projects ever. It's made a ton of money, and they'll be pumping more and more.
Are you being sarcastic right now?
Maybe a little bit.
Okay, thank
But
God.
it's got a great like scene at the end. You know, the mid-credit scene where like Michael Keaton turns up as the Vulture,
And he
he's
goes,
like,
"What are you, some kind of Batman?" Is that what happens? I've been pitching that for years.
no, he's like, "Hey, so we should team up and take on Spider-Man." And Morb is like, "Intriguing. Tell me more." And that's it.
Ah,
And it's just like that makes no sense.
I was really hoping it was going to be, "What are you, some kind of Batman?" And then he goes, "You're a bit of a joker, aren't you?"
They would probably put that in like one of those silly cartoons that they do that are like tongue in cheek.
Oh, what are you, some kind of Birdman?
Yeah. That. Yeah.
I've been pitching it for years.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing him in is it the Flash, as the '89 Batman.
You telling
but
me I can write
I don't
Morbius
know.
better than the
Yeah,
people
I got a
who wrote
feeling they're
Morbius?
gonna like
Not make it?
No, they're gonna CGI out. God, what's his name? He's been arrested like 15 times already.
Ezra Miller?
Yeah, they're gonna CGI out his face and put in like Grant Gustin or something. I've heard that rumor, so it might be a while
That's not
before
that
it comes
hard
out.
either with the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean that's what they do with all the stuntmen.
Yeah. I mean, not CGI
So-
the face. You could just have reshoots and then
Yeah,
you can just do reshoots just with like
Maybe some
specific
scenes.
scenes. Yeah,
Yeah,
just head up and on a green screen. That's all you need.
I don't know. I just think it's funny that someone posted the other day like that final scene in like the proper Justice League cut,
Oh yeah.
and it had like Jared Leto as the Joker. It had.
We covered Peacemaker, right?
Well, I don't think we got to like the end of it,
Mm.
but we covered the first couple.
Yeah. Specifically with Ezra Miller going, "Why are you fucking fish?" Essentially.
Yeah, him and the Aquaman guy came
Yeah.
back. Yeah, that was good.
Momoa.
But there was a scene also that was like a bit prophetic where Peacemaker's in a school for some reason, and there's a bunch of kids, and they're all like, "Oh, have you met Aquaman?" Or who was it? The Flash.
Yeah.
They were talking about the Flash. And he goes, "Oh, trust me, everyone who's met him says he's a douche." So I was like,
Have you met
okay, damn.
Aquaman? Yeah, that guy sleeps with fish.
Yeah, no, I love that fucking show, and they're doing another season, and they're doing spin-offs, and just keep that coming, because just put Taika Waititi, James Gunn, and well, those two mainly, and obviously you need who's at the head of the MCU, like Kevin Feige,
Yeah, Kevin.
like to just make sure nothing's like contradicting each other so much. Maybe the guy behind Deadpool 2. Oh, did you end up watching that one with Ryan Reynolds and like he meets himself?
Yes.
Yeah, and that kid's going to be the next Percy Jackson.
Yes.
So who's pretty cool. Like I've seen clips of him. He loved Deadpool so much. He'll
And
sit there.
He knows the monologue.
Yeah, like he'll just do the entire scene,
Yeah.
like everyone's lines. And there's a scene of them just sitting there watching him, and like he's all the swear words, everything, and they're just like, oh boy.
Yeah. Well, even then, the intro shot where you first meet the kid, immediately you just go, yeah, it's just Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
That kid has nailed
That's
how
the
to be
best
Ryan
casting
Reynolds.
ever.
And what I'll say is, if that kid gets typecasted into that role,
carry the torch, man. Like that, I can't think of. Did you ever see the clip on like a Korean version of The Masked?
Yeah, singer where he was a unicorn and he was singing. What song was he?
How
singing?
many episodes was he on before?
One.
Oh, okay, I was going to
one
say
special
if he
appearance.
stuck around for like 3 or 4 weeks before he was on Masked, I would have been really impressed.
Yeah.
Like it was still cool that he went down there, but like
I'm trying to
holy
think what
fuck.
song. The sun will come out tomorrow.
Mm.
Because of course Ryan Reynolds saying the sun will come out.
Yeah,
tomorrow.
and when you hear it, you're like, oh, that's Ryan Reynolds. Like his
you
voice
know
is so
immediately.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like you'd have to be like South Korean and I've only heard him dubbed
Yeah.
to like not be sure.
So like the audience
There's no way he could have done that
in America,
or Australia. And it was funny, like I saw a little bit of on Gogglebox, like Our Masked Singer, and it was ridiculous. Like Hughesy every time was like, it's Celine Dion or it's Tom Cruise or
even Jackie O didn't realize when it was Kyle.
oh,
the radio
okay, I
co-host
missed
who's
that one.
been sitting for like
Yeah.
10 years. But speaking of the Masked Singer, there was a walkout in the Masked Singer in the US.
Oh yeah, that just happened. Ken Jeong. I mean, it happened a while ago, and it was reported then when they shot it, but now it's finally released.
I haven't seen
So-
the clip of it yet.
No, I haven't seen the clip. Maybe like a 2-second bit where it's just Ken Jeong going, "I'm out." Like I saw that where he's just
Yeah.
like, "I'm done," and leaves. And good on him because
And they revealed that one of the Masked Singers was good old Rudy Giuliani.
that was enough for Ken, who's I've never seen him do anything like that, so it's good to see that he's got a bit
He's
of a
clearly
backbone.
got some sort of political
Yeah,
stance.
he's properly woke, and I don't mean that in
But also,
a like
you know,
shitty way.
He
It's-
gets to be. He's got hangover money. He can
Yeah.
do whatever the fuck he wants.
Also, he's a doctor. Like he could
Yeah.
just go back to being a doctor.
Yeah.
And he's got like principles, and he cares about democracy, unlike Rudy Giuliani. So, you know, I don't think it's good that they were putting on every hack.
I'm
like
just gonna
Sarah Palin
I'm
was
just gonna
on.
I'm just gonna
Like,
real quick
yeah.
just change. Rudy Giuliani allegedly doesn't care about democracy. Allegedly, I am not getting us sued for defamation.
Yeah, he's not going to sue some podcast.
Allegedly,
Come at me, bro.
allegedly, as someone who's currently studying media law, I am not getting sued for defamation.
All right, you've read too many textbooks. No one's coming after us. Trust me. He's a traitor, and
Alleged traitor.
I have to send. I don't know if you watch the TikToks I send you.
Sometimes
All right.
I
I try and make him like the stuff you're into,
Yeah.
like wrestling or
I do
gym.
bulk. I do bulk stuff. I mean, like, I'll let it go for a bit, and then it's like 10. Okay, it's time to start watching.
Cool. Yeah, I don't know if it was one of them, but there was like a whole thing of stuff you could buy. Like it was a SNL skit, I think, and it was for like a fake infomercial for Trump supporters. And one of the things was like a Rudy Giuliani maple syrup jar, and you turn it upside down, and it all just kind of like oozes out of the jar
Oh.
from his head.
Mm.
Because I don't know if you ever saw that clip when he was like at some deposition.
And
it's all
I've
the
seen
faked-
that. Yeah, because that was I believe that was also in Borat.
Yeah. Oh, it's so gross.
So the last thing that I want to talk about, at
Right.
least, because going off what I've seen, is the retirement of Bruce Willis.
Yeah, well, that's a sad story. I mean, you can tell why now suddenly. It wasn't like he owed a lot of tax. It was just because he knew he couldn't keep acting. So it is really sad that he's done like the last 20 movies were just straight to video, B movie. It was like, oh, what happened to his career? No, his career would have been fine if he knew that he could have kept going at strength to strength. But he unfortunately not contracted, but he's always had. It's not like a thing. It's not contagious.
No.
It's just like a condition.
Yeah.
Like I think it leads to a Parkinson's type. His memory. That's because there were people making fun of the fact that in the last couple of movies he would wear a wire and he had something in his ear, and they would relay the lines to him, and so he copped a bit of flack for that. But a lot of actors do that these days. Seagal,
Steven Seagal does that? Who would have guessed?
I mean, it's a shock, I know.
But he's an A-list actor.
Yeah, he's a true master of his craft.
And master of Kung Fu
yeah.
or Krav Maga or whatever he fucking does.
I don't think I sent you that clip, but there was like some UFC match recently, and he was claiming that he taught like the fighter how to do a certain kick. And it was like, dude, you've never thrown a kick in your life.
And also, speaking of retirement, Jim Carrey has pretty much said that he's retired or retiring after Sonic 2.
Yeah, he came out pretty hard against the Will Smith thing too. He was like, dude, I would have charged him. I would have like...
Every comedian's going to be on Chris Rock's side.
Yeah, of course, but he was really like gung-ho. I mean,
we understand it's a fucking joke.
Yeah. No, it was just
sticks and stones.
I'm looking forward to the 10-minute bit that Chris Rock comes out with.
God,
it's going to be so good.
I don't think it's going to be on his next tour of Australia, but the one after that. Yeah, because I think he'll still be doing his set that he's doing currently in the
US. That's what he said. He briefly was like, I know some shit went down, but
I haven't had time to process it. I've already written a set for this.
Yeah, so we're going to stick to what I've he's, and I guess
I will get
to
it.
Only people that know how comedians kind of build their work respect that. It's like, it takes fucking a year or more to build like a 1 hour set. So you don't just fucking throw in random shit unless it's a bit of crowd work maybe, but not like a whole new bit.
Yeah.
So like that takes months and months to like work.
Yeah. Unless you're Andrew Schultz and you're just doing just crowd work.
Yeah, that's all he does.
Minutes.
Yeah. I like his stuff. I watch a lot of his shit.
Yeah, he's great.
Sometimes he's a bit like contrarian for the sake of it.
And he's running for president.
Sure he is. Yeah, okay. Like he might be running, but...
I think he'll do better than Kanye.
It'd be a troll. Yeah, it'll be that kind of thing. I just feel like some of his... I'm not going to say I'm offended, but it just feels like some of his offensive content he knows... And I know that's comedians...
for the sake of being offensive?
Yeah, it's not as clever as it could be. I don't know. I'm not a comedian. I shouldn't talk shit unless I can do what he does. But it's just like... I just think it's going to be a while before he's at the level of like Bill Burr and people like that. And I'm just going to sound like a grumpy old get off my lawn man saying that. But he's really like... I got to say some of it's probably jealousy, which is ridiculous because I've not even in that world. But what he's done with YouTube is pretty fucking amazing. Like just before the pandemic, he built that studio in his house and just started shooting all these amazing like clip YouTube things. And it's like he just went from, I don't know, a few 100,000 views to tens of millions. So, props to.
And again, I can happily say I was one of the early ones years ago.
Years ago, okay.
Years ago.
I only started watching his stuff last year, I think, because it was just the crowd stuff is intense. Like he doesn't give a fuck in terms of like who he'll offend or which is like Russell Peters did a lot of like race.
I swear to God, if he's about to say Russell Peters.
No, that's like a chef, I think. It's Peter, Russell Clark, Russell Peters. He was the first one that really just like made that his shtick, like getting stuck into the audience about where they're from and what all the stereotypes are and all that sort of thing. So to see a white guy do it, because it was for a long time.
Yeah,
like,
well, that's the thing with Andrew, especially. He's very smart. Like he understands.
You got to walk the line.
That
like
he makes fun of.
Yeah,
like he says something that he's like it shows that he clearly knows his shit about that culture.
Yeah,
and then he makes fun of it.
Yeah, he's not dumb enough to like just use the N word or anything. But it's
like
stuff
he went in depth on the Hindi and like Sikh culture.
Yeah,
like about specific things, and they went, "Holy shit!" And then he made fun of them.
Yeah. It's not like completely just redneck stuff.
No, like he cares about what he talks about.
Yeah. No, okay.
It looks like he respects the cultures that he makes fun of.
Yeah.
Makes fun of.
But does he build like an hour of solid material or is it just all... Like I don't think we'll see a Netflix special or anything.
I think we could have at one point for sure, but I think now he's realised how good he is at crowd work.
Yeah, so just, all right, if go for it. Anyway, what's the next thing was like Christopher Lloyd's been cast as something in season 3 of The Mandalorian. And it would be a fucking tragedy if his character's name is not Man DeLorean, which I think works better on screen with the spelling. Why was I posting TikToks? Because I knew I wasn't going to watch them in this to read it out.
I was looking at that and went, do I cut these?
No, I mean, you could just watch them. They're cool. But like, oh yeah, aphasia. Because we were talking about Bruce Willis and I forgot what the condition was actually called. If I go to the article, we can maybe unpack that a little bit more if you somehow missed the story. It affects the person's ability to speak, write, and understand language. It occurs after a stroke or a head injury. I wonder if it was something that happened in... I know he doesn't really do his own stunts, but I hope it wasn't because of an injury he got. He's 67. Well, I got to say, like, I'd never wish that upon anyone. I know he's got accused of being a bit of a dick in the past. Yeah, I would certainly never put this onto anyone. But for 67, I think he's done pretty well. I don't think he has to like too concerned about his legacy or anything. Like some of the most classic blockbuster films of all time where he was at the helm. Die Hard, Die Hard 3, Geddon, that had some issues, but it's just one of those ones that's going to be a cultural touchstone for...
Any more you going to name, or was that it for you?
It's mainly those three.
Okay.
He did that TV series, Moonlighting.
Yeah. I liked Red, but that wasn't something.
No, that's not there. Oh yeah, the director of Deadpool 2. I was going to say he's got a film coming out, and it's not in here, but like I saw some trailers the other day, and it's Bullet Train, and it's 6 assassins on a train going through Japan at high speed, and they're fighting over some kind of special briefcase. It's the dumbest sounding plot ever. But
I love it. I'm in.
Yeah, so look up that.
Okay, well, I'm going to talk about the one relevant thing that I think that you put into the group chat today.
Right.
Yep.
I was at the actual chat because I couldn't post
Yes,
in
because
Facebook.
the second I saw the first one, I went, this motherfucker's been sucked.
Yeah.
Misha Collins.
Oh, yeah. He had to double back. He had to backtrack and U-turn. And
mistakenly came out as bisexual.
Yep. That's an easy verbal...
meaning to...
Yeah.
For those of you unaware, Misha Collins was a regular guest star of the series Supernatural.
Yeah. He's the angel.
Castiel,
yeah.
Yeah, so
he's one of my favourite characters.
He released a statement, if you would like to read it, Pat, because...
Yeah, I'm just here. Okay. I want to deeply apologise for misspeaking this weekend. At a fan convention in New Jersey, I was talking with the audience. I said that I was all three things: an introvert, an extrovert, and a bisexual. My clumsy intention was to wave off actually discussing my sexuality. I don't know how he thought that would work. But, I mean, it's off the cuff. He's talking to the audience. It's easy to make verbal flubs, so whatever. He says he badly fumbled and understands that that was seen as me coming out as bisexual.
There was like 50 articles. You fumbled that sentence earlier.
Big time. Yeah. This was not my intention, so I need to correct the record. I am not bisexual. I happen to be straight, but I am also a fierce ally, and the last thing I want to do is falsely co-opt the struggles of the LGBT community, which is kind of like, I even sent the first article to like some family members that are bi. So I was like, hey, look, another... And
that's only post 3 of 5. I believe and fully support that we need to sanctify the human right to express our identities honestly and to be free to love whomever we choose openly. I am deeply sorry for the clumsiness of my language. I want to be a better ally, and I feel sick to my stomach that I might have done anything to make things worse. I'm trying to learn, trying to do better, and I will keep listening. Thanks, and I'm sorry, Misha.
Yeah, I think he's one of those people like Keanu Reeves that no one can really get upset with.
He's also got a phone number that you can contact him on. That's a bold move.
I'm sure it's just a voicemail or something.
I'm assuming it's an additional phone.
Yeah, it's not going to you just randomly call him.
I mean, you might randomly call him, and it might
So that all the other stuff we already talked about.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Right.
And then you got zucked.
So they're doing this thing. I don't know if you read the article, but
didn't, because I already have a PlayStation 5.
Yeah, you got a PlayStation 5, lucky bastard. But scalpers have been like tripling the price, and Sony's like, fuck this. Now, if you open the box, the special sticker will be broken. And there's something like on the PlayStation itself, like if you open up all the packaging, essentially, if they're not going to play it themselves, how do you really stop them from just on-selling it all ready to go? Gift? Yeah, exactly. When someone buys the system, the retailer peels the sticker, leaving behind a seal marking the product opened. It's as soon as you buy it, they make it clear that it's been bought at the store. Resellers won't be able to market the console as new on sites like eBay. So it's a little, it's not really going to affect.
Yeah, that's going to do nothing. It's going to
really
be like opened once.
Yeah, and they can't really
not used.
They know people will pay twice as much.
Still, yeah.
Even if Sony upped the price, they would still sell them, but they have a strategy and they want to stick to it, and I appreciate that.
Well, part of me likes to think at this point now, because we're sort of past that COVID era. I think, and this might be me just being a little skeptical and a little, conspiracy theory, but I think at this point that they have deliberately limited the releases for these consoles. So
I don't know,
the PlayStation or the Xbox.
The knock-on effect of supply chain fuck-ups takes years to that's the thing. It does take a long time to untangle. Like that ship that got stuck in the Suez Canal, That took fucking. Oh no, it wasn't the Suez. It was the other one, the Panama Canal.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, yeah, that took months and months and months to like all the issues to get resolved and stuff to start moving again. As soon as it was like all working, then this happened. We had all these lockdowns and a huge run on like the chips that they need for the PlayStation that are also used for cars and a million other things. And it takes a long time to build factories to pump those out. So Russia was one of the places we're getting the raw materials, like it's a rare earth metal or something. And that's obviously no longer the case. They've been like walled off again into some weird like iron curtain. So good luck to them. They can all just slowly. Let's just put it this way: it's a good thing your family got out of there when it did.
Yeah, but yeah. So my theory is they're slightly limiting it in some sort of way.
I don't know how.
On every release now, look how quickly everything sells out.
Yeah, but that's the thing is, it doesn't make sense for them to do that because they're losing money every time they sell one. What they want is everyone to have one, and then people spend money on the software, on the games.
True.
So
true.
Like that's how they're making their money back. So it doesn't make sense for them to artificially limit the supply of the console.
Which then also beckons the question of how is everyone making money on Game Pass?
Yeah, and they're about to introduce like a 3-tier level of like Sony Game Pass.
Exactly.
And it's going to be like nuts. So you could spend like, I think the highest tier was $25, $30 a month. And you just get like...
everything.
Yeah, but a lot of it is you get access to all these old PS3 games to download for free. But most of those games aren't available in Australia. Like the licensing issues. If you're in North America, it might make sense to do that. But for me, I think I'll just stick to like the
Depends,
basic
though,
package.
like is the PS5 sort of region locked, or can I be like I'm in America? VPN says I'm in America.
Okay, yeah. I don't know if it'll get around the fact that your account's Australian, but it's worth a shot because
I could be like I moved here.
Yeah, if you're in America, yeah, you get a lot more access to.
Exactly.
More stuff from what I've read.
Like I used to do that all back in the day with the Xbox when I wanted to like look at weird shit. I'd made like a second and a third account, one that was in America and one that was in Japan.
Yeah.
And you know how much shit that's on the Xbox store that you don't see? Like also indie titles that like independent games that are on the Xbox store that you can't buy in Australia.
Yeah, no, we get shafted pretty badly. Like we pay more, we get less stuff. But hey, we're not in Africa, so hey, there's that. Crunchyroll's removing free episodes from its stream. I never really messed around with that too much, but that kind of sucks. So again, everything's moving back towards piracy. It's like, what the fuck, guys?
You are a pirate.
Yeah.
Yar har figuratively.
That's a good thing I just found the charger for my laptop because I'm going to have to like buy a Chromecast thing. And anyway, we won't go into details, but
because that just stopped again. I just started it again. I think. I don't know about you, but I think that we have covered everything.
Well, I'm sure there's more we could talk about, but I think that's all we've got time for, considering I'm waking up in about 4.5 hours to drive another 300 kilometers or so,
Fun.
like I already did today. So, thank you all. Do we say get the fuck out? Is that the thing that we say
Well, no.
to the people? All three of you.
So I don't know if this is more effective if I do it like this. Thank you for watching the Banana Split podcast. This episode has been sponsored by Fuck All. If you would like to sponsor us, please do. It really won't cost you much. You could send me a shirt and I would advertise it. This has been Banana Split podcast episode 89. Enjoy your dessert.
Get the fuck out.
Get the fuck out.